Oh, hello there. Today I'm here to talk to you about the Irish Potato Famine and the economics behind it. The famine happened between 1845 and 1855. The effects of the famine were not only felt just in Ireland, but around the world. So listen up, kids, and I hope you learn a lot.
I know that it happened in Ireland, obviously, and that potatoes are and were a very important staple in the Irish people's diet. And so when the famine occurred, it really affected their lives because they had to find a new main source of food.
The most important thing you have to understand about the Great Irish Potato Famine is that they traded with potatoes. It was a basic barter economy and it was not as well established as England. Even though it is a British Isle, it did not have the same economy and it wasn't as developed. And a big problem was that the landlords of the farms were all in England and did not realize the massive devastation that was occurring in Ireland.
Well, my great grandmother immigrated over to America because of the Irish potato famine.
These are the kind of potatoes that the Irish wanted, that the Irish needed to survive. And this blight is what caused the famine.
So here's a quick little story for you. When King Henry VIII was in power, he decided he wanted a divorce from his wife, Catherine of Aragon, to marry Anne Boleyn. But the Catholic Church would not grant him a divorce, so he split with the Catholic Church and made himself the head of the Church of England. Therefore, this caused England to turn into a Protestant country. But there were still many Catholics that remained in Scotland, Ireland, and even England, which caused great discord between the two faiths, and each hated each other and thought their own faith was better.
During the time of the famine, the U.S. had the most Irish immigrants coming into the country, which is shown in the darkest blue color.
The English tried to help, but they did not succeed. They have a very laissez-faire attitude, and they tried to send in copies of The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith to try and implement a free market economy, to teach the Irish the way they thought, but it didn't work. They also tried to create more jobs for the people by having peasants build roads or buildings, but this still not supply the peasants with enough money to pay for the expensive goods because they were importing wheat and barley from America, and this cost so much for the peasants that they could not afford to buy their necessities. Many citizens were evicted because they could not afford their rent. Hunger was on the rise because they could not afford food, and many went to America, but they faced vast discrimination. And they boosted the American economy because they were willing to work for a lesser amount of money than people who were born in America at the time.
This chart here shows that 70% of the people of Ireland chose to stay, but 12% of the total population, which was close to 1 million people, died because of their choice to stay. This map shows that even before the famine, Ireland was a country that faced so much poverty and devastation. During the years of the famine, hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives because of their lack of food and inability to purchase their necessities.
Okay, so it was a bartering economy, and they had to trade with potatoes because they had really no real form of currency there. So that was not good, and it led to the depression.
This event qualifies as a depression because there was no money or currency in the economy or potatoes, which they use to barter with. No one was buying any major land or any houses because they couldn't afford anything. And no one could just afford basic necessities because they were so expensive from the importing. And this occurred for over 6 months. This occurred for 10 years. So this for sure qualifies as a depression, and it negatively affected everyone in Ireland.